Hello, hello. Ron Callis here with another episode of Automation Unplugged. And yes, I realize this is the presidential inauguration day here in the United States. And I know we have a global audience, so some of you may not know or care, but I have a feeling there's enough people around the world that are paying attention to who's staying and who's going in our politics. So I have a feeling that may resonate with a bunch of you. But today is Wednesday, January 20th. It is 12:30 p.m., which means it's Automation Unplugged time, which means the show must go on. So we are here. I did just duck out. I was, my guest, Jason, and I did just go watch a bit of the inauguration and then run back to our computers about 5 minutes ago in order to be here with you all. If you are out there and watching live or watching on replay, don't forget to give us a like, give us a share, and or maybe drop into the comments and let us know where you're coming to us from. Let's see here. So this is show 154. And our guest today is the Mr. Jason Roberts. He is the general manager and board member at Bravas, and he is the GM of the Boca Raton, Florida location for Bravas. So let me go ahead and bring in Jason, and let's get this party started. Hello, Mr. Jason.
Good afternoon, Ron.
How are you, sir? I apologize in advance for stealing you away from the inauguration. Regardless of what side of politics one stands on, that's a big show, and it's an important event to watch and pay attention to.
Well, I know how all important media moguls like yourself know how to bury the lead, and so you get a guest like me, you got to choose some other event going on to keep the crowd from getting too big. So I know what you did here. I know what you did.
That's it. We had it would be too raucous a crowd if I didn't do something to get that under control. That's funny. Well, no, we've got some folks tuning in here. So if you're out there, give us a like, give us a share, drop an emoji, let us know where you're coming to us from. That will be appreciated. How are you feeling? You are right there in South Florida. You're with me. I'm in Broward County. You're right there in Boca Raton area, and the former president is, and we can't talk politics, by the way, much or greatly, because Facebook is reading the transcripts. The big data machine is reading transcripts, and they'll actually do some funky things with the algorithm if it's political. But so without using a lot of political terms, and I know that might sound odd, but we did an interview. I did it with Murray Kunis in October or November, and Murray's very political, and there was a lot of politics talked about in the first few minutes. And we actually got blocked from Facebook. We couldn't promote the show. They wouldn't let us spend money to promote the show. But what I wanted to get at is the former president is now down the street from you. Like literally, I think he just arrived.
I believe so. And the only thing that matters to me is that the Secret Service doesn't let you boat very close on that part of the intercoastal now. So, every time he's been down last couple of years, it's an inconvenience for some of us who like to boat. So that's all I'll say about it.
Got it. So you literally, can you not go up the intercoastal when he's in residence?
You have to keep a wide berth, and there's lots of guys with big guns on other boats in the area. So obviously a protected area for good reason. So it could be a traffic issue. I've got employees that live in West Palm up on Southern Boulevard, and if the planes are coming and going that particular day, it can mean the difference between a 20-minute commute and an hour and 20-minute commute. So.
Wow.
Those celebrities,
That is funny. And I know we're live here, Jason, but I'm actually going to ask you to do something, and this is going to be impromptu because your audio did change for me from when we were pre-show to right now. It feels like it almost ramped up to a pretty high level. And so I'm going to attempt a live fix here. And I don't know that it's going to do anything, but what I want you to do, and our audience is going to hang out with us while this happens, and we'll cut this out of the podcast so no one will know. But our live audience knows We are going to, I'm going to have you close out your browser and leave. And then I'm going to have you click on the link and rejoin. And it should bring you right back here.
Okay, I'll do that.
We're going to live dangerously. We're going to go for it.
Bye, Ron. I'll be back.
All right. Sounds good. All right. So in the meantime, I'm going to give Ellie, let's see here. Do we see that on the Facebook machine? I think I have your comment, Ellie, live. But again, technology does not always behave. Okay, yeah. Yeah, there you are. See, it was that easy. So I was going to give Ellie a shout out. Ellie, she says, welcome to the show, Jason. Really stoked for this episode. And who else do we have? We have Tina. She says, welcome, Jason. Excited to have you on Automation Unplugged. So thank you, Tina.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Jason, tell us where you're coming to us from, and maybe tell us about, for those that are hiding under a rock and have not heard of Bravas, maybe give us a little a sneak peek of what Bravas is and your location, and then I want to go back in time and kind of talk about your background.
Sure. So I think you mentioned we're dialing in here from Boca Raton. I'm actually on the Broward County Palm Beach line. I can see both counties. I could actually throw a rock and hit both from where we're sitting today. I'm in my dining room. Anyway, I kind of lost your question.
No, that's okay. My question was, where are you coming to us from? And then give us maybe a high level overview of Bravas and Bravas Boca Raton and how that fits into the equation.
Right. So Bravas Boca Raton is one of 16 locations of a nationwide branded AV company and home automation, CI, all the different acronyms that we like to use in this space. And we've been one company now for about 18 months, but it took us about 3 years to put that together prior to that. So we're a single branded nationwide footprint company.
Got it. And we're going to talk a lot about what makes Bravas, and I want to go through that and get your perspective. I do want to give a couple of more shout outs. So we have Kaylee. She says, hi, Jason. Excited to hear more about you and Bravas. And then you might know this person. This is Bravas's own Kelly Meisner. She says, hi, Ron and Jason. Hi, Kelly. Thanks for tuning in.
And Cassie. I see Cassie.
Yeah, I see a note here from Cassie. She says, Jason, excited for this one. Awesome. Thanks, Cassie. So, Jason, I've known you for a little while. I've known you, I want to say, I don't know, maybe around 10 years or so, maybe something like that.
Very close.
And you have an interesting background. You weren't born and bred in the custom integration world. You actually had a life before this world. Tell us kind of about your background, if you don't mind.
Sure. Well, so not always AV, but always a nerd. So I started off in actually high school and college doing computer science type work, and I got a degree in management information systems, which didn't exist at the time. So it meant you learned accounting and and a bunch of computer languages, and then you jammed it together and figured out what you wanted to do with it. So my first career outside of college, by luck and by circumstance, was working for a nationwide group of colleges, and the nationwide group of career colleges, they were called at the time, taught people skills in different career starting ways from 6 months to 2 years. It was a quick version of college. But it was a nationwide company that had, an automotive technology school with a business school, and it was all types of different companies put into one brand, and I learned a lot from that. So fast forward a few years, and as being a technologist of that, I joined another company where we started from scratch, and we bought and aggregated over 100 college campuses over the course of about 6 years, took the company public, and that was out of Chicago, Illinois. And I was in charge of all the IT functions of that company, which meant information systems that everybody could use. But at that point, we were international, so we had lots of different regulations and rules on how to even do financial aid for students. We had to track in multiple languages. So we were doing some pretty large scale IT projects, ERP implementation projects. that's what brought me to Florida, which my software vendor was in Deerfield Beach, Florida. I would come visit them at a conference every year, and they were smart. They had their conference in March, and I was in Chicago. And March in Chicago and March in Florida are two very different things. So I I enjoyed some sunshine and beautiful weather a couple times, and was trying to help this company do some things to the software that I needed them to do for my fast growing enterprise. And they asked me if I'd come help them do that. So I actually jumped ship from the public company in Chicago, moved to Florida. That was 22 years ago, and worked for a software company. I worked my way through being the VP of operations to the chief technology officer to eventually the CEO of that company. We grew from about a $3 million, 12-person company to a $65 million, 300-person company in 3 continents. And we sold that to a private equity group. So about 2008 is when this happened. I found myself having been a part of an acquiring group, a group of people who went around looking for people who'd invested a lot of time building a local branded school to help their community. And they were looking for ways to preserve really everything they'd worked for in their life to put us, to build a school from nothing to a several hundred student piece of a community. And we were the acquirer of that. And then my next piece was, as I was in the software side, I served people doing that, and then we got to sell that company. So I got to be on the selling side of a private equity group. So fast forward to today, a couple of years ago, I'll come back to how I got into the AV business, but basically it was through a side door. I had a friend who had a friend, and I offered to help him out, and I bought the company. This was in 2012. So as I ran that company from 2012 to 2017, it's my first time in this industry. I didn't know if I was doing a good job, a bad job, an okay job. I just focused on the same principles I knew about customer care, business relationships, taking care of employees, and investing a little in marketing, which is how I met you, to try to build the business. And we built what was then called Spectrum Technology from about a $2 million operation to about a $7 million operation over the course of 6 years. But at the same time, joined this group of similarly minded people called the Bravas group, which were people sharing business practices and best practices with each other, and actually comparing our financial performance and comparing our business practices and sharing them with each other to figure out if somebody had a better mousetrap, we should all use the better mousetrap. And that process came from being a group was a group of people helping each other to a group that said, there's so much that we could be so much more powerful together than we are apart, that we put together about 3 different ways of combining our businesses. And we landed on one that worked out for us, which was getting a private equity investor to put some money behind a group of 15. And now we're all one brand. We share some really powerful leverage in things like marketing. And I'd love to talk to you more about that, because you were part of our most recent investment, a very huge investment, but a super important investment on building our website. But there's so many things as a small business owner you do every year, and it's just not productive. You shop for insurance. You have to redo your health insurance. You have HR tasks that you're either good at or you're not good at. You're recruiting people. I mean, it's hard to be in every place you're supposed to be at any given time and still run your business and take care of your customers. And our background concept with Bravas was, gee, we could centralize a few core features, a few really core functions, pool our resources and do better at those functions than we can do alone, but also let every branch operator like myself focus on what we love most, which is taking care of our customers and implementing cool technology and not shopping for insurance and figuring out how to build a website.
I want to go back to 2012 when you, a friend of a friend asked you for help at an integration company. What was it about that interaction that had you say, yeah, I think I want to buy this. I think I want to be in this crazy business? Or did you think it was a crazy business at the time?
I actually had there were multiple friends. It was actually my former business partner was a customer of this firm. and he had done the most outrageous theater and the most outrageous automation in his super luxury home because he just sold his software company for many millions of dollars. And it was an incredible. I had never seen it before. I'd seen hi-fi audio stores and I'd seen a home theater before, but I'd never seen it all glued together like I saw it at my friend's house. And he was a customer of an operator who was a good operator, but had found himself on the wrong side of 2008. And so my friend had loaned him some money, and the business had not yet recovered. And they were kind of on a slide from being a very, very successful local location to struggling and trying to figure out a way through. And my involvement was for my former business partner and friend to kind of get involved with the business and see what things we could do to tighten it up. And of course, one of the first things I found was there were no systems. There was no tracking. We didn't know when the next sale was going to come. We had QuickBooks and that's it. So, part of the, when you sold ERP software for a living for 12 years, you kind of knew the solution, right? You got to put a piece of software in that gets everybody on the same page and exposes all the information to everyone. That was one of the key motives, was I could help with that. I knew what to do. I had to go ask a whole bunch of people what the right answer was. Didn't want to invent it. And we actually chose iPoint along the way, and they built a great tool set. And frankly, it reminds me of the tool set that I used to use in the 90s when I was the client of the small company in Florida. And so they're, it's their first generation product, and it's super complete. It's awesome. But if you could build it all over again, you'd build it completely differently today, especially if you knew that somebody like Bravas was going to come along and stick a bunch of different businesses together and see what needed to be the same at every business and some things that would need to be different at every business. What's local and what's national, or what's standardized and what's that special sauce in each location. So that's also part of the fun. I'm bouncing between 2012 and now, but kind of getting to do the same thing again, because it's like a new business because it's new in its scale.
And so that raises an interesting maybe topic, which is how do you, and I'm going to also bounce between the past and the present, because there's a number of just different threads I want to pull on. But while we are talking about systems and processes, and I see that you are listed as one of the board members at Bravas. What is that process like of you guys trying to ultimately define the software or solutions that would enable you to really benefit from your strength in numbers, right? I mean, there's types of, you made the comment, I don't remember if it was before or we went live or after, but you're like, finding insurance, like, right? You could have 15 locations doing that, or you could have the corporate office doing that and rolling it out.
And that's certainly the case. We went to a nationwide benefits plan. We're all in the same a really high quality benefits plan. Not every location that joined had employee benefits. Now we all do, and they're the same. And that, of course, we have a 401k. We rolled out a 401k this year. To administer a 401k as a 12-person company is insanity. To administer a 401k for a 400-person company makes good sense. So those are things of scale that we're able to pick up and get benefit on quickly. I think some of the things that are local that you have to figure out, if they're, we talk about a lot about our product vendors or our product partners. Sometimes it absolutely makes sense that you're selling the exact same product in 15 markets, and sometimes certain markets prefer a product. It's if you drive around Denver, Colorado, you're going to see a lot more Subarus than if you drive around Florida. If you drive around Florida, you're going to see a lot more Mercedes than you're going to see Subarus. So you can't dictate what the market wants, but you have to. You want to sell a high quality product that everybody knows how to use.
One thing, Jason, that I've observed that you've accomplished, or you maybe you even master, but you certainly do a great job of it, and that is from the inception of you joining our industry. I'm going to say my industry. I've spent my 20-year career in this industry. is that right out of the gate, you started to develop really tight relationships with some of the best builders in the marketplace. And not only did you develop those relationships, but you've maintained those relationships. And it's really interesting and impressive. I mean, how did you think about that coming in? Was that part of your plan, or has it just happened?
Well, we had a relationship with a number of builders, and I didn't know them. And coming to New Orleans, the first thing I did is some appointments with them. And I went and sat down with them and asked them, what are we doing well for you? And what are we not doing well for you? And I got very discreet answers about, here's what we like about you, and here's some things you need to improve on. And I took those lists of improvements and I took them to heart, and I took them to my team and I focused on them, and I was able to deliver on those things. Things like finishing on time, on time and on budget with quality, which is our motto now. It's our mantra. But, they're saying you did a really good job of getting to the 90-yard line, but the last 10 yards seem to take really long, to use a football analogy. And so we focused on getting in the end zone. You got to get in the end zone to score points. You can't get close. The other things were planning resources in advance. If you don't really look at all your projects together to see what type of resources you need when you need them, you're going to come up short, or you're going to have a bunch of people on the bench. And so we had to look at when projects were expected to be complete, what else had to be complete before we could do that, and focus on having, we invented this thing we called a swarm, where if we had a small amount of time to get a lot done, we would put literally everybody on our team on a project for a week and swarm on it. And our team wasn't used to doing that. They were like, oh, it takes 3 months to finish that phase. No, not if you just focus on it and that's all you do. So we've done a couple swarms in our life, not frequently, but sometimes that's what you have to do. So it was focusing on the things that those builders cared about. And the most important one was how well we took care of their customers after they moved into their homes. So we made relationships with people like Ahiji. We made relationships with people that were leading edge on proactive monitoring and maintenance, as opposed to just being reactive. We try to be a proactive part of the equation. And we told our customers, if you're going to have a party, you're going to have a Super Bowl party, why don't you call us a week before and we'll come make sure everything's in working order. It's a much better interaction with a customer than a phone call that their outdoor TV doesn't work and they have 75 guests in their house. What am I going to do now? So just again, these I think are standard basic business practices from outside the industry that if you've learned them as either running a software company, just being in other seats, they're things around service level agreements that are second nature, but you had to be there. You had to ride in that car for a while to bring that type of expertise here.
So break it. I had that in my notes to go there. So you've led me there. So thank you. What is a service level agreement for those listening that have maybe heard the term, but they don't know what it means? What is it? And how did you implement it at your business?
Well, I'll give you the high level. A service level agreement is a mutual understanding between a business and a customer of how they're going to be taken care of in different circumstances. And in software and in AV, there's two different competing priorities. There's this thing called priority, which is what the customer says is, this is important. And there's severity, which is it really important? So for instance, life safety issues, if somebody's lighting or their climate system isn't working, that's probably more important than a guest room TV. So we use both severity and priority, saying how important is this to the customer? Priority is their choice. Severity is our choice. And we mush those together to align resources. But in general, what it means is if somebody calls and says, I have a problem and I want it fixed, they should know before they call that the answer they're going to get is, we'll be there today, we'll be there tomorrow, we'll be there within a week, we'll be there within a month, we'll be there within a year. That's the service level agreement, or the timeliness to address the problem. And then resolution of the problem could be completely different. We don't promise resolution in a particular time frame, but we do offer different service agreements that customers can sign up for that guarantee them a 1 hour response time, an 8 hour response time, a 24-hour response time, or no response time at all. You'll just go in the queue and we'll get to you when we get to you. And customers can pay for and prioritize the type of service that they want, but at least we have a pre-documented agreement on what their expectations are. So we're not at odds with each other just because we never talked about it.
What is your observation, maybe pre-joining Bravas and now within the Bravas, company, of how common the approach that you brought to your Spectrum integration firm, this concept of deploying SLAs and reviewing that with the client? What was your perception of peers in the marketplace doing that?
I think there were a couple early evangelists, and I mentioned IHEG. Stuart and Mike from IHEG tried to teach proactive maintenance, and along with that, the idea of having like paid service plans. That's a place where you could document that. I think it had some roots, and I've seen it take off. I think everybody understands the concept now. But what is interesting is, you could share the recipe for the world's most famous cookies, but if you're not a good baker, they're not going to come out right. So having the plan and executing the plan, I think any given day we have the opportunity to execute well or not execute well, and that's where the difference lies out. Is you can say you're going to respond in 3 hours. How do you actually respond in 3 hours? That's what's going to separate the good from the great.
What has the experience been like rolling out what you have practiced locally at Boca Raton to the rest of the locations, or has it become a new variant that works across the country for all locations? Or is everyone doing their own thing?
No, we have similarities with a few distinctions by market, but there is a singular Bravas customer care plan that has 4 different choices. You can be, even if you're not a paying service contract customer, we still articulate what our service goals are in terms of response time and what you're going to get. And then the upgrades, and every location has that. They have 4 tiers, and they all involve, they go from everything from we'll respond to you when you call to we'll notify you before you notice a problem, and we're going to come in and update firmware and test everything twice a year and change every battery and every remote. There's everything in between, but there are choices. And I would say it's mostly standard. There again, the execution, telling that story, being comfortable with that story, and making it available to all customers. Here in Florida, we've been doing this for about 6 years, and we have about 200 customers on these types of plans. If you just start this month, you might be lucky if you're signing up 1 or 2 a month, and it's going to take a while to build the participation to where you actually have everything operationalized to make it work the way it should. But I think the recipe is the same. I'll tell you that the recipe is the same across Bravas.
I want to share here on our screen. I'm going to attempt to do it this way. So this is your new corporate site that launched, I think quietly, we could say, in late December without much fanfare. Of course, we wanted to make sure all the bugs were worked out. God forbid. And tell the audience, right, kind of, what do you think? I'm going to be this high level, and then we'll bring it down to ground level. High level about the idea that you guys had a CMO, Nigel, and he since has just been promoted to CEO. But Nigel brought a strong acumen for branding and marketing, brand positioning, the definition of knowing who you are and who you're trying to be and who you're trying to serve. And I had the pleasure, my team had the pleasure of working very closely with Nigel for the last year to result in this website. So I would love to say this is a One Firefly product, but it was a pure collaboration with the Bravas organization and the One Firefly organization. What does it mean for a business to know who they are and to know who they serve, thus being in a position to even try to put something out like a polished website?
Well, it's the foundation. knowing who you are and what you're trying to do and what your cultural values are, it really defines, I think, everything from what your customers see in you, but more importantly, what you are internally with your employees. Employees deserve to know who they're suiting up for, the team they're playing for. What does this brand and this logo mean? And as it correlates to not just practices, but attitudes and interactions, and how to respect the customer, and how to even respect each other. Things like being a learning organization is an important thing to not just say, but to be, and to put in place things. If we're here to be the best for our clients, either from a service or an implementation perspective, then we better be the best at training and sharing information with each other from an employee perspective. And I think you mentioned, as it relates to this website, those are employees that you see right there cleaning.
Those are your employees that we're showing there.
Local employees. Yep, they're a part of this website, and they're proud of being a part of this website because it's showing the quality work that they do. But it also connects, from the customer to the person who's serving them and everybody in between. It really connects quite the message. And so culture and mission have to be articulated. And so I think you and I had a conversation in advance, and it's something that I've never been in our previous life. Our website was more of a brochure for post-client it was not a place where we recruited customers. It's a place where we sent customers to validate that what we told them was true. This website is both a marketing website and a brochure website. And my words on this, hey, there's all my team. My articulation when I saw the work that you did, and you and Nigel and the whole team, because I know it was not just you, it was your team, and it was a lot of people. I think this is the best articulation of Bravas and who we are and what we're trying to do. And frankly, it took a year and a half of being together for us to get the messaging right, and to get the formatting, and to capture that message. So it's an exciting time for us. Like you said, it was technically launched January 1st, 2021. We soft launched a couple weeks before that to get some feedback, but it's a beautiful website that does, I think, a good job of explaining what we do and who we are.
There's going to be a lot of additional videos, as you know, and the audience now knows, added to the website. This is going to be a significant component of the way that the Bravas brand tells its story, is by showing the beautiful spaces and beautiful places. This project in particular, the one the audience is seeing, and for those that are listening, I apologize. I'm gonna do my best to describe what you're seeing, but just imagine you're seeing a beautiful luxury residence. This is one of your builders, and you actually do regular work for this builder. Whereas some companies may go and get a builder, and they may regularly get, $50,000 jobs. You're regularly getting jobs much, much greater in size than that.
Well, and that's grown over time. I recall, in a spec home environment, this is a speculative home, by the way. It was built turnkey ready for somebody to buy. And what does that mean? It didn't used to include technology. And now, over the course of time and watching the trends of buyers and delivering on quality, you can see televisions and iPads and doorbells, and everything is here. This is a toothbrush ready home, I call it. Just bring your toothbrush and you can sleep here tonight. There's sheets on the bed. But if there's sheets on the bed, there better be window treatments on the windows and a lighting control system. We do see from time to time in a spec situation with other builders where somebody's going to buy the home and they have 90 to 180 days of customization to be able to move in. And imagine if you were buying a car and they're like, yeah, we'll deliver your car in 6 months. I guess that's what you do if you get a Tesla, right? But other than that, you kind of want to drive the car off the lot. And by pre-planning and incorporating all the technology early and being as complete as possible, our builders that we work with, I think they're experiencing a differentiation in their product quality and their customers' appreciation, because it's truly ready. They can come in and, yeah, they have to call Comcast or DirecTV. They got to get some services, but otherwise it's ready. And that to me is an amazing conclusion for a builder to meet, that even though they are spending some money, to make that home ready, it's a differentiation that's worthwhile.
Visiting this home, it's funny. There's a beautiful pool out back. I don't know exactly where those videos are, but I know there's some video of the pool. Actually, I was snapping pictures of the pool, and I'm on a personal project at my home to do a pool. So I've actually contacted that pool contractor. I'm looking at the finishes on the pool at this home, because you and I spent the entire day, morning till night, at this home shooting this video.
Yes, we did.
And I've learned about, custom pool finishes and slate, not slate, but porcelain. And so you've opened a can of worms by bringing me to this type of projects. It was nothing short of stunning.
Well, I'm glad it impacted you that way. I stopped bringing my wife to homes like this several years ago because I know what happens.
It's not good. It's not good for one's wallet. I mean, it's a beautiful project, but it's not good for your wallet.
That's right.
Because I am not.
If you want to be envious.
I am not the customer that buys, a $15 million home, but you go in and my wife almost joined me for that day of the video shoot, and it might not have gone well. I love you, honey, but it might not have gone well if there you go. You can see the pool there in that video. Because it's gorgeous. It really is amazing. Talk to the audience here, Jason, about the programming. You get this home by the technology in this home. What's your core brand for control?
So for control, this home has Crestron in it. We are here in Florida, focused heavily on Crestron as a platform. We find the reliability and the quality is certainly recognized in this area. And so, of course, as you know, if folks from AV around, the difficulty with Crestron historically has been programming, right? You either have a programmer or maybe you don't have a programmer and you hire somebody else to get it done. And all of a sudden they disappear, and then where are you? You have to know how to maintain your product. So I have a philosophy I call rinse and repeat, which is missing the step of wash. It's supposed to be wash, rinse, repeat, right? That's on your shampoo bottle. But the idea is if you do something once and you do it well, then keep doing it that way and don't make changes if you don't, don't make changes for the sake of change. Well, so we partnered with a group out of Texas called Pantech Design. They have a platform that is called Adapt. And Adapt is a programming platform that does most of the basic product for you, and the customization is able to be done by more and more people in our firm. So we're using the Crestron platform with a little bit of custom software on it to achieve that notion of that not every home is a custom build of software from the ground up. So we have lots of proven functionality in that platform. We're losing people.
Say that again.
I think we're losing people.
No, someone just joined.
Oh, great.
Someone just joined. So no, I don't think we're losing. I think they're telling their friends and neighbors. They're saying, forget the inauguration. Jason Roberts is on it. He's live. We gotta know about that. Tell me, high level, how does Bravas think about all the various locations you guys have? And like you guys do a lot of Crestron, and I know you do some other stuff, but a lot of Crestron. Does Bravas as a brand singularly focus on products that are then used nationwide, or is there a number of focus brands within categories? How does that work?
I mean, I think there's some special sauce there, but the control platforms, we support them all. We're dealers here in South Florida for all the control brands without even saying their names. We sell, install, support, service every control brand that you have. And if we get a lead from a control brand, we stick to that control brand with that lead. If it came from their marketing, their website, of course, we're going to support them. But customers also have brand affinity. And so if like I mentioned, Subaru in Colorado, and I'll make this up, if Savant is a popular brand in a neighborhood or with a builder or even with a city in Colorado, then I think you're going to see an affinity for that brand to continue, back on the whole idea of rinse and repeat. So it is certainly not our plan that I'm aware of to standardize on one control brand. Now, step down a layer to things like security and surveillance. There's lots of products in those categories. We're seeking the best. One thing that I'd love to mention, I don't know if you've even heard this, but we just launched the Bravas 2-year warranty. If you purchase a home automation system from Bravas, we implement it in your home, we offer a 2-year warranty. And we've gotten many of our manufacturers to follow us on that. If they have products in their category that are 1-year warranty products, they'll extend the warranty to 2 years. But even if they don't, we're extending that warranty because we're so confident in the products that we're choosing and we're using and reusing that we know how to implement them properly, we know how to service them properly. We're doubling the warranty on many products. Now, that said, there are many products that have 10-year warranties, or 5-year warranties. Those warranties remain intact. But as an installer, we're warranting our work and all products for 2 years now.
Wow, that's very notable and impressive for many reasons. 2020, how did it treat you guys locally? I don't know if you can speak for the company, but how did it treat your division?
Yeah, it varied nationwide based on governmental constraints. But for us, we had a very busy year. I think there was a bit of pause on new project starts because you couldn't get permits in March, April, and May. Builders that wanted to start new projects couldn't get through the government offices to start new projects for a period of time. So there will be a little lull that is happening probably now as a result, because it's going to 9 months later, 6 to 9 months later. But we've seen nothing but high demand. In fact, people are trapped at home and they're investing in, they're using things they never used, perhaps using rooms they never used. They're using features they never used. They're listening to more music. They're playing video games. Their kids are in school online. There's a lot more, I think, happening to improve the home, just like you're looking at a pool. It's like, why is now the right time to put a pool in? Well, here I am. I'd love to have a pool.
I think I'm staring at another year of not traveling. And I've got a preteen, and I think it's the thing to do.
It makes perfect sense. And so if you can't travel the world and you're not planning a 40-day cruise through the Mediterranean, then you spend that money on something for your home that your whole family's going to enjoy. So we've seen some uptick from that, but we've also seen an increase in service demand because, again, people are using things more throughout the day.
That's a good point. What is random, maybe not random, but in the ballpark of this topic, a lot of the national movie chains are closing down or going bankrupt. Is that resonating at all in your customer base? Do they know or care? And is that affecting any sort of change in demand for the home theater or home entertainment? Or is it they wouldn't go to the movies anyway, so it doesn't matter to them?
They definitely do go to the movies. I think iPick is the brand that I think of that was the premium experience, where you got a big recliner and somebody else makes popcorn and you have a full menu and even cocktails to bring. As far as has it changed the definition of the homes that we're building right now? No, yeah. We have not started putting, theaters dwindled over the past 10 years because televisions got so big that the media room or the club room or the family room is now the media room, is now the theater, because you can get a high quality sound system in there. You can do room darkening shades, but it's where everybody already is. You don't have to drag them into the theater to get them to watch the movie you wanted to watch. You just put it on and they're watching it, whether they know it or not. So we've seen a lot more. Certainly people want high quality televisions. They want large screens. They want to know how big. If they can get 110 inches for a reasonable price, they would buy them all day, but they're not reasonable yet. But as the screens are going up in size and the audio can be done well in shared spaces, we're not seeing anybody dedicate space to a theater right now.
Now, it's worth noting in Florida, and I think this is accurate, there's generally no basements.
That's right. And that's square footage is premium here. So to dedicate something, we recently designed a house that was going to have a theater golf simulator. I'm not sure what the outcome of that is, but there are people that want to have those features, but it's a premium on space is what it is. You have to decide what type of space you want to use. We've seen some golf simulators in garages work well.
Yeah. I have a theory, and I want you to test that theory for me, and you won't hurt my feelings either way. But I'm operating under an assumption,
That would be my goal. Tell me how best to hurt your feelings.
There you go. How best to hurt my feelings. So I'm practicing my predictive muscle as I challenge my team, my leadership team, to do that daily and regularly. What do they think's going to be coming around the corner? And I've got a theory that as the vaccine starts to make its way around the country, around the world, but certainly I'm here in North America, around North America, and maybe that takes the course of this year to happen, 2021, and assuming the assumption is that it actually helps and makes people healthier and it protects them. I think that's unknown. But let's assume the positive, that it makes a positive difference, that we're going to see more consumers, more of your customers take that trip again, take that vacation, that family, get out of the house more. They've been now locked into their house for 2 years by, some point later this year. That I think it's going to change in some respects the purchasing habits within the home. Now, does that matter? Do you think that's going to happen? Do you think it matters? And if it matters, how does it matter?
I agree that it's going to happen. I hope it happens for me. I'm looking forward to traveling. I think there's going to be pent-up demand that's fighting with satisfied demand. And what I mean by that is there are many things I have learned that I want to do to my home right now, but I'm not letting contractors in to do it. So as soon as it opens up, then I'm going to go ahead and move forward on those things. Like if I was doing a pool, I would let it happen now because it would be outdoors. But my master bathroom needs remodeled. But now is not the time to do that. I'm using it a lot that we're here. So I think there's going to be pent-up demand that then gets to catch up. But then there's also, like you say, there's going to be people changing their focus and taking their dream trip as soon as they can, because this has changed our perspective on a lot of things about life. If you lost anybody, if you lost a family member and they were supposed to be on that trip with you, no better time than the present to do it. So I think it's going to be soup to nuts, everything. I think the economy is a bigger question for everybody. Are we going to get out of the disparate types of outcomes for the economy right now? And in 12 months from now, is this type of work the priority or not? I think it's more going to be an economic question. And frankly, a lot of people have done very well in the last year, and that's good for them, good for us. A lot of our customers is not their first or even their second home. It might be their third or their fourth home. So they're still traveling between those 4 homes as well. So.
We have a question, and I love it when my audience participates. So first of all, I'm going to give Todd's comment. Todd says, great perspective on the home theater situation. Thanks for covering this. But then he says, do you see home entertainment furniture as a category for your business? Why or why not?
Well, it's definitely a category. There's no question that it is important. I think the trick is who is the decision maker. And typically in a whole home build, there's a designer that's the influencer of that type of decision. What's the furniture going to be in that media room? And it's up to us to educate them more on what their options are from us as a channel versus where they're accustomed to going and buying furniture, or specifying for perhaps furniture that doesn't have the same features for theater or for movie watching. So this is a good influencer topic where we have this great product available to us. We know why it's beneficial. I would say lighting fixtures are in many ways the same thing. We have better hi-hat lighting to offer our customers than anybody. However, we're not there when it gets specified many times. So building relationships with specifiers early in the process, architects, designers, everybody upstream is the key to making that a bigger part of our business. So home entertainment furniture is the same thing. You got to be there where the decision is made.
Love it. Thank you, Jason, for addressing Todd's question. Todd, hopefully that
I'd love to know Todd's perspective.
Yeah, Todd, you got to drop your perspective down in the comments.
You'll be on Automation
Jason,
Unplugged in 3 weeks, Todd.
Todd's already been on Automation Unplugged. He's like, been there, done that. We'll have to have Todd back. That's funny. What's your outlook for 2021?
A little slow start with a huge ending. We've been meeting with our builder partners, and again, they were held up on permits. They were held up on there are supply issues, not just in our industry, but in the construction industry. And think about bringing high-end product from Italy for certain finishes. There have been some delays on some projects, and either alternate choices have to be made on those building projects, or they have to wait for the product to arrive. So I think as that diminishes, again, vaccine, nationwide, international adoption, and everybody getting back to work, it's going to pick up. But we have tons of demand that we see for what we do for the next 24 months. I think beyond that, it's again the question of the economy, and just pray we're never going back to 2008 again.
Yeah, no, amen. What do you know, or what can you share with any perspective, Jason, regarding expansion plans for Bravas? And I know you don't speak in that capacity, so I don't know what you're able or willing to share, but I'm sure those listening are curious.
It's part of our vision, and it's an important part of our vision and plan to grow both in new markets where we can have a presence, where our customers already have a home. I mean, a lot of our customers here in Florida have homes all up the northeastern seaboard, and we want to serve them in both places. They ask us that all the time. We love what you did for us so much here. Can you do this in our home in Massachusetts? Can you do this for us in our home in Aspen or Vail or Jackson Hole or Salt Lake City? And so in order for Bravas to fully achieve our vision, we need more added platform locations. We call them platform locations because we want to find partners in those locations who are doing a good job, who share the same values that we have, that want to attach to something larger that means more to them. But then we also have opportunities like here in South Florida, where, we're here in Boca Raton, we're 30 minutes apart. And as a true Floridian, I better have a darn good reason to drive that far to see you, right? That's a long way. We're on the opposite edges of the same county, and we see each other once every 5 years, whether we want to or not.
I actually went to Boca this weekend to look at a tile vendor, and we drove like 30 minutes to get there. My wife and I were like, man, we've been driving for so long.
Well, so that's my point. Is Florida? We're very. I mean, I think there are opportunities to expand within the South Florida market. We need to have a closer presence. It would not make sense to me to try to service a lot of customers in Miami from Boca. It's too far of a commute.
People in Miami don't go to Boca, and people in Boca don't go to Miami. I mean, as a general rule, people like looking on a map out in the world may go, but what are you talking about? It's 30 miles or 50 miles away. You just don't do it.
So in order for us to complete our vision of serving South Florida in its totality, we see ourselves having branches spread throughout the southeast seaboard, and then perhaps adding Naples or up the side to Sarasota and Tampa. That would be a complete a market. If people then recognize Bravas as the brand they want to use, we obviously need to be available in their markets where they live. So 5 or 6 additional locations in South Florida would be ideal for us.
Jason, we have, I'm going to call it, that's our time, because I know you are busy and you have scheduled appointments, and you've been very kind to spend a little bit of prep time with me while the presidential inauguration was going on. And then here we are, we went live just minutes afterwards. So I want to thank you for that sincerely. It was a pleasure to be able to spend a little bit of time with you. How can our audience follow you or get in touch with you if they wish to do that?
The easiest way is that sexy website you just showed them, bravas.com. We have all of our contact information there. But also, I mean, I'm pretty easy. I'm jason.roberts@bravas.com. Spelled exactly how you think all those things to be spelled. So I'd love to hear from folks, and thank you, Ron, for inviting me. This has been entertaining. This is my first time ever on Facebook Live, so
I think you held your own. I know you and I can riff for hours at a time, and we don't need a microphone or an audience to do that. So
no, we don't.
It was great seeing you just a number of months ago when we did the video shoot, and I'm glad to. I know you've had some medical things going on in life, and I'm glad to see you made a strong recovery. And
thank you. Thank you very much. I couldn't have done that without my own team. By the way, they're phenomenal, and I think of everything that we think about. If I could just close with one statement, if there's
please.
Everything you do in business, and you know this better than anybody, you can have the best policies, the best idea, and the best market, but if you don't have great employees and care for them and work with them, you can't be successful. And you've enjoyed great success with your team, and you have a highly skilled, highly professional people, and I admire that about you. And that's frankly what I'm most proud of as Bravas Boca Raton, is both our local staff and our national team. I mean, I think we're really well poised for success because we have such a great team, and that's how you win in this world.
I'm gonna tell you that, Jason, I think you've known this because you've known me long enough. I didn't always know that, and I had to learn some lessons along the way in life and in business in order to maybe fully appreciate the power of team. And the power, frankly, in my mind today, building up those around you. Like nothing brings me more joy than helping that person on my team and, of course, my customers achieve that next level of success, whether it's a training, a certification, an accomplishment, a stretch goal, something that they were scared to take on, but then ultimately achieving it and feeling good about it. It's the older I get, I'm young, and hopefully I have many years in front of me, God willing. But that is what I've learned up to this point, is the better I get at that, the easier and the more fun business is.
Absolutely. Well, thanks to I saw a few Bravas folks on here. Thanks for joining me, and thanks everybody else. Pleasure meeting you, and have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Jason. All right, folks, there you have it. Jason, well, wait a second. There we go. Oh, there he is. He's still here. So there you have it. One and only Mr. Jason Roberts. Jason, I remember right when he actually purchased that business, because I knew the owners and operators before Jason did that acquisition. And I didn't know who this crazy guy coming from the IT software university world, I didn't know who he was. And I mean, right out of the gate, the guy just impressed the heck out of me, just in the way he spoke, the way he interacted with me, the way I saw him interacting with his team. I knew something was special and something was different. And of course, he was able to successfully, in a short period of time, relatively short period of time, grow that business from 2 to 7 million, he said, and then further gain being acquired by Bravas, and now I know that his location, they're just on a skyrocket of a trajectory. So it's really fun to watch him and learn from him, and hopefully you all learn some things as well. So on that note, I am going to do my weekly pleading of if you have not already subscribed to the podcast, please do so. And if you are a listener, whether you go onto our Facebook page and you watch the live video, if you'd leave us a review, I'd appreciate it. And or if you go to your favorite podcast environment, leave us a review, give us feedback, say the good, say the bad, but frankly, any engagement's good for the algorithm. And I'd love if you would do that. It would be really appreciated. And what I'm going to start doing for folks that do that, I'm going to start reading some of those reviews and feedback here on the shows. So that's going to be a new thing you're going to see incorporated here in the very near future. So on that note, I wish everyone a great rest of your week and a great and safe and happy weekend. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks, everyone.